Hello and welcome to part 2 of our Zen U review featuring James this time. Once again, we're on our sport testing pattern here at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas, who take excellent care of us when it comes time to film and who we couldn't do this without. The pattern is up on the screen. It's 2019 USBC Open Championships doubles and singles pattern. Really need to find a different one that's got a shorter title, but it's 42 feet, 28.4 mils, just over a 2-to-1 ratio, so it's got plenty of volume and is very difficult. Reminder as we begin, the Zen U and Fate are available today, November 18th. Links are in the description to pick them up at Bowler's Mart. That's a great and simple way to support the channel. The easiest way to put this, and I might have mentioned this in the other review too, is that the Zen U is like a smoother Phase 2. I know the numbers don't make sense, but the shape and general ball reaction is extremely similar. Remember, it's still a urethane ball though, or mostly at least, and while it does shape more than regular urethane, it still wants to be earlier and smoother than most reactives, which makes angles tricky at times, but this is still a rough pattern. If he gets it too wide, nothing will get back from there, and if it's a little too straight up the lane, nothing will hold in there either. So realistically, this is the same story with everything that we test on this pattern. The trick is that with reactives, you can move in and they'll still shape. Since urethane wants to be earlier and smoother, that's not usually an option. If you don't have the rail, you just need to get out of it. However, his did the same thing mine did. When I got some oil onto the cover, it got easier down the lane, which actually made it easier for him to move inside because he didn't have to worry about it getting traction too early, which would have caused angle problems. While the ball gets a little smoother as he adds angle, the ball motion and hit are still impressive. He also has to pull his break point in, but that's something you typically can't do with reactive balls. And bowlers are always looking for the shim or the hold in the middle part of the lane so you don't have to circle the middle to get it down the lane and possibly risk getting it too far outside. And that's basically, the shim is basically built into this ball, so this might be some new territory. It's so flat in the middle on most sport patterns that moving inside on some is just too difficult. You'll never get the ball down the lane because of how responsive reactives are, so you're usually forced to the gutter with typical urethane. But if we have a ball in the Zen U that all of a sudden splits that gap, urethane that you can move inside with, this ball has enough differential that if drilled strongly, it'll flare like a typical reactive ball, or close, so it won't cause carry down and it will have clean, fresh cover to help with ball motion on the back end. Then when you get some oil on the cover, that helps it get through the front, so it's almost like reactive up front and urethane down lane. That could realistically be a bit of a game changer. Before we move on, I'm going to restart this for the urethane causes carry down and that's why the ball is getting smoother crowd, who will swear I'm trying to use fancy words or smoke and mirrors to hype the ball. You'll note that when he started to the right, his break point was about 5 or 6. As he moves in, his break point also moves in to 8 or 9, so even if it is creating carry down, or was, I'm not sure how carry down on the 5 and 6 board would be affecting shots on the 8 or 9 board. Urethane does tame down once it gets oil on the cover because it doesn't absorb it, so even with traditional urethane balls that do cause carry down, like the pitch black or purple hammer, they still hook off the planet until they get some oil on the cover. Carry down isn't the only thing that tames them down. The oil on the cover slows them down a long time before enough carry down is built up to significantly affect them. Moving on, we're going to take a look at a typical urethane ball now in the pitch black and a perfect illustration of what I just said. First shot, the ball goes berserk. Next shot, it never sees it. You'll also notice that James has a quite different layout on the PB, which allows it to absolutely be traditional non-flaring, dig early, and be super blendy down lane urethane. As he slows down and edges to the right, this is what most urethane is built to do. Be stable, predictable, controllable, and just let you walk it down the side all day long. When he tries to add some angle, it also illustrates exactly what I was talking about earlier. Because it doesn't flare, it is rolling over the same oil track all the way down the lane and can't get any traction on the back end. However, if he tries to keep it closer to the pocket or keep his angles more closed, it's so early that it doesn't even attempt to get down the lane. This illustrates the precise balance of the Zen U even more and makes it look even more impressive. The pitch black is, however, extremely good at doing what it does, and so James moves back to the right for this final shot and just walks it down the track. Finally, a bonus treat. James actually has an original Booyah, not the Pro, just the Booyah, which was basically a pitch black with a little higher RG and a little higher differential. We moved to the fresh lane also for a fairer comparison, and you can see that while it's definitely more in the direction of the pitch black, it has a bit more pop down lane or a bit more motion, which is due to that higher differential. It's getting a little more oil ring separation, so it's getting a bit more fresh cover exposed to the lane, so it's doing a pinch more, but it's still more of a traditional urethane ball. If you were hoping for a Booyah replacement, obviously I don't think the Zen U is it. The Pitch Black isn't quite either, but it's definitely closer. Once again, the Zen U and Fate are out today. Bowler's Mart links are in the description below. Remember to check out my membership options as well. You can check out the members only playlist at the top of my channel homepage to see what you're missing. There's plenty of early stuff and members only stuff, and one very interesting extra in there that relates to this comparison. Thanks of course to all my outstanding members on YouTube and Patreon/Discord. Thank you for watching, and may the strikes be with you.